I thought, Jason, when you were talking about startups, I thought we were going to talk about Bolt and the Stripe Mafia fiasco this week.
Well, that's a good story.
It's a pretty crazy story.
Where does everyone fall? What side does everyone fall on that?
Does anybody have any equity positions in either company? Let's start there.
No.
Stripe holders?
No.
Saks?
No.
Saxy, are you an LP in any firms that have
I'm
exposure?
I'm an LP in funds that have exposure to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm an LP in a fund that has exposure to it.
I am as well, but it doesn't...
It's minuscule. That doesn't affect.
Minuscule, doesn't matter.
Minuscule for me too. Okay, here we go. So for people who don't know, Bolt is like one-click checkout software. They compete in some ways with Stripe's payment API. The CEO, Ryan Breslau, did a tweet thread basically saying that YC and Stripe are the mob bosses of Silicon Valley. It was pretty charged. Obviously, Stripe and YC work together. Stripe is the biggest company to come out of YC ever, I guess, along with Airbnb. He claims that a lot of the top VCs were blocked as a strategy by Stripe. And I think there is some truth to this. When you invest in one company, you don't invest in the competitor. I don't know if that happened here as a strategy, but it is a viable strategy that other people have used, where Bolt claims Stripe got all the top investors, therefore they couldn't raise money. He also was saying they were voting things up and down on Y Combinator's Hacker News, as if that matters, yada, yada, yada. It was kind of a weak argument, in my view.
I'll give you my hot take.
Resulted in a bunch of VCs dunking on him.
Hold on, I'll give you my hot take. So first of all, Bolt is now a $14 billion company or something. Okay, so these guys. I think this was a very brilliant PR strategy, and it worked. What do I mean by this? This was a company that most people didn't know about until this past week. They went and they punched up, which is a pretty tried and true PR strategy. Always fight up. You pick the big guy who's an incredibly pristine, extremely well-run company that is sucking up most of the talented, people in Silicon Valley to work for, is a, centacorn, could be $1 trillion company over some lifetime. So they went and they punched up, and what happened? Everybody fell for it. They baited all of these folks, and then all of these folks had to come out on Twitter and lambast them. And basically the net result of it is, if one person knew about Bolt before, now hundreds and thousands of people know about Bolt afterwards. So
not only do they not know them, they're now their contemporary.
Just in terms of the practical reality, they are now part of a discussion and in a framework of companies in this space that they were never a part of before.
This is Steve Jobs' move with the 1984 commercial. He said IBM and then Microsoft, our big brother, we're going to attack them, join the Rebel Alliance, be part of Apple. And of course, Apple and IBM responded. And that was the big mistake. And Mark Andreessen, Sequoia, a bunch of different venture firms responded. Sachs, what's your take on this? I see you're chomping at the bit, or maybe you're biting your tongue. Which is it?
No, I agree with Chamath that it was kind of a brilliant PR move, if that's what it was. I do like startups punching up, and he took a punch at Stripe, which is the big company in the space. So, and then Stripe didn't respond directly. The Colsons didn't respond, but their surrogates did, and then that looks like punching down, and it draws more attention to it. So I get the PR strategy. I would say that as to the merits of the allegation, it's interesting that, he didn't get into YC, because I think that he is a very talented founder. And, we looked at this company pretty early on. It was for like sort of a mid-stage growth round. And it was like one of the toughest decisions we faced. I'd say the toughest decisions as a VC are when you actually want to invest in the company, but the valuation is like 2x what you think it should be. And that was kind of the situation at the time when we looked at it. Is I think we actually would have invested. It's just the valuation was too high. So
and it would have been a great bet for you.
Yeah, he grew into it. And so it would have been a great bet.
So it was a bad decision on your part.
Yeah. Clearly we should have invested. It's just that, at the time you invest, you have to have some basis for valuation. And that's the sense in which I think, maybe Ryan's accusations don't totally make sense, is that he's been able to raise a lot of rounds at really high valuations. And so he hasn't had a problem, raising a lot of money at, great prices. And it almost feels like a slap in the face to his investors, where like, what's the complaint? I didn't get any tier 1 investors.
Or that it was just hard to meet with investors, and that Stripe called the investors and told them not to invest. That was the allegation.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I can't really speak to that, but
Yeah,
I mean, he was
who
clearly
knows?
able to raise great rounds. So
Can I read to you an email exchange between me and Ryan Breslow
Oh, dramatic reading?
from
Here we go.
2015?
Here we go.
HMOth hopes all's well. FYI, things felt too rushed on our end, so we're toning down our Series A discussions for a couple months. And this was in July of 2015. I'm reading you my answer because it's so fabulous. Hi, Ryan. After a wholly unsuccessful few weeks of attempting to win a World Series of Poker bracelet, I'm back at home licking my wounds. How about we talk in a week or two? So not only did I have a chance to win a World Series of Poker bracelet, according to this exchange, which I didn't win, obviously.
Duh.
I had a chance to do the Series A in a $14 billion company and screwed that one up too.
Big dummies. I mean, the things we miss are, there's like
Oh my
20
God,
things you miss
so
as an
brutal.
investor for everything you hit.
So I've interacted with Ryan back in the day, and I just remember him being super, super smart. And I do think that, there's a lot of very smart people now around the table at Bolt, including Joanne Bradford. So I don't think that this was something that wasn't planned. And I just think that they executed it well and it worked. And I think a lot of people know this company that didn't know it before. Now they still have to execute and build a product and scale it and do all of these things. But
yeah, and I think that the response he provoked, I mean, since I was a little bit critical of what he said, let me just say that one of the VCs who responded said that the reason they didn't invest was because the numbers weren't good. That was not my experience. When we looked at this company, they had great numbers. It's just the valuation was ahead of those numbers, but the numbers were always great.
I actually responded to that, and that was Sequoia partner Sean McGuire who said that. And I responded to him like, hey, dude, VC code is you don't reveal the numbers on things you learn confidentially. What are you doing? And he's like, well, they said some BS about Stripe. I was like, yeah, it still doesn't change VC code that if you learn something under NDA, for NDA, essentially, in a meeting, you're not supposed to weaponize that against
unless you have a $30 billion position.
I still think, well, whatever. I still think it's like, I've never seen a VC honestly, it's the first time I've ever seen a VC do that.
Jason, come on. I think it's pretty, I think we all knew where he was coming from. He's defending an enormous position of his in Sequoia.
You do that, Jason. You've always been fine, but
I've never released inside information is my point.
He didn't say any inside information.
How would he have inside information if he was an investor?
He made a general statement. He made a general statement.
They met with them.
But he was conflicted out, so why would he meet with them?
Hey guys, Nick just texted that had I found a way to get off my lazy ass, not be playing poker and do that deal, I would have generated a 222x on my investment right now.
Which would have been 15 million times 222x.
Well, we screwed it up too. I think the round
Nick.
we looked at went at like a $400 million valuation or something like that, or
my
something in
Lord.
that range.
My gosh, what would the Series A have been? I mean, the Series A would have been at like 23
63 million according to PitchBook.
Oh,
yeah.
63 million.
Wow. It was one of those meetings we came out of where it's like, that's a super interesting founder. So
me too. That's what I remember too from Ryan.
Yeah.
That is the lesson. Super interesting founder, write the check.
I said it earlier in the program that like our philosophy now is just to be price takers and just to pick the companies that we want to be in, and then the market sets the price.
That's the biggest mistakes I've made as an investor.
Yeah,
I got
if we had just done that with
price.
Bolt, we should have done that with Bolt. This was the decision we faced was like a few years ago. And so we just shouldn't have worried about valuation.
By the way, sorry, JCal, as soon as you said it was 63 million, you know what my reptilian brain said? Oh, that feels so expensive. Even now, knowing that the outcome is 14 billion. Yeah. And so to your point, David, it's a really good lesson for investors to learn is just you're a price taker.
Totally.
Get behind these really interesting people that are world beaters and just let them do the work.
Place the bet.
Yeah.